We're back with Swarm Weekly, where we recap the Seattle Swarm's highlights of the match week. I'm Hornet, alongside Pandy, who's running us through the Week 5 matchups.
This is Week 5, which means that it's getting into playoff crunch time for a lot of teams, so matchups here on out will be a big test for the Swarm. The Ramen Bowl Swarm take on last season's champions in the Portland Journey, as well as a Dallas Vanguard team who are sitting well at 4-3. NCS face their toughest task yet against a 7-0 Denver Scream, as well as a 3-4 San Francisco Cyborgs. MAC League has a great opportunity to push into the wild card in a competitive conference, with their two matches also against the San Francisco Cyborgs and Denver Scream. Linguini League look to continue their 5-1 record into Week 5 in their matches against a tough 6-1 Kansas City Carnage, as well as a solid Denver Scream.
The Linguini League crew had a difficult week against the Kansas City Carnage and the Denver Scream. In their only series of the weekend, Array shot 50% with 3 goal contributions and 3 saves against Kansas City, where they played an integral role in keeping up the pressure in the offensive front. Up next, Pivot 97 matched Array's 3 goal contributions while also securing 3 saves under their belt, and played a significant part in the Seattle Storm's offense by peppering the net with 8 shots against Denver alone. That one douche, their captain, was active across the entire pitch for both series on the weekend. They were able to tally up 9 goal contributions and 9 saves, making both teams work hard to get their wins. And last but not least, Blaze also played both series on the weekend with 5 goals and 3 assists, working with their captain to bring the offense to Kansas City and Denver. Even though the Linguini League crew went 0-2 with no points for this weekend, their work last week keeps them in good conference standing.
MAC League entered Week 5 hungry for victory, coming away unmatched with a 3-1 win versus the Cyborgs, as well as a forfeit win versus the Denver Scream. Ethan was the driving force behind this winning machine, creating valuable opportunities around the field for his teammates to strike, while also scoring 4 goals for himself. He used impeccable game sense around the clock, setting accurate passes and shutting down the Swarm's goal line when needed. Dangerous for Life knocked the Cyborgs out of the park in his performance this week, acting as the Swarm's disruptor. Alongside being a sniper in clutch times, he delivered many devastating blows with several key bumps and demos that tore the opposition apart. This disruption didn't go unnoticed, however, for Fort stepped up as the Swarm's all-star striker this week. He bombarded the Cyborgs' net with 23 shots in a single series, from midfield lasers to an insane redirect that his opponents could only watch fall into their net.
The NCS crew kicked off Week 5 against the San Francisco Cyborgs, where Skippy was a powerhouse on all parts of the field, scoring 4 goals and had 2 assists while also locking down 10 saves against San Francisco alone. Pardon brought chaos in their only series this week against San Francisco by securing as many as 13 saves and 13 demos. This enabled the Swarm to force Game 5 and lock down their only point on the weekend. Moving forward, Frosty Brew started against the San Francisco Cyborgs and the Denver Scream. They had a total of 5 goal contributions and 7 saves to their name on the weekend, occupying the midfield for pass plays. And lastly, JK Frost also played against Denver, where they scored once but secured 7 saves in their only series. The NCS crew were able to take home 1 point against the San Francisco Cyborgs and the undefeated Denver Scream.
And finally, the Ramen Boys secured 2 points against the Dallas Vanguard and Portland Journey. Hornet put his foot down in net, making 8 saves per series to keep the Swarm alive in many tense moments where he was able to make extremely efficient transitions from defense to offense. Goyo was the Swarm's sharpshooter, scoring 6 high-caliber goals against the last season's championship roster. He found sneaky angles from around the pitch, scoring goals from what seemed like virtually anywhere to keep the opposition on edge. Tater was consistent from coast to coast, tallying 16 saves in the week while also punching in 6 goals through the teeth of his opponents to make sure that they knew that he means business. And last is MJ, who put a thorn in the hip of the Vanguard with 15 demos against them alone. This physicality from MJ created countless opportunities that contributed to the Swarm's resilience as they took the series to Game 5.
Let's recap. The Linguini League Swarm unfortunately went 0-2 on the weekend against the Kansas City Carnage and the Denver Scream. However, they still sit comfortably at 4th place in their conference with 20 points and remain in the scope of playoffs due to their huge weekend last week. Looking forward, the Week 6 matchups include the Mexico City Venom and the San Diego Armada, where they will be looking to close the gap between them and Santa Fe in 3rd.
MAC League is looking much better following their stellar Week 5. Their 3-1 victory over the San Francisco Cyborgs and a forfeit win over the Denver Scream boost the Swarm to 2nd in their division and 6th overall. Despite playing 1 series, they showed true domination in response to a tough Week 4. Their momentum is looking good as we approach the end of the regular season.
The NCS Swarm secured just the 1 point against the San Francisco Cyborgs for Week 5. With 5 games left in the season, every series is going to matter from here on out in order for them to get back up to 8th place in conference, currently sitting at 20 points. Even though it was a rough weekend, there's still time to get back into the playoff picture by getting some wins against the Mexico City Venom and the San Antonio Revenge for Week 6.
Unfortunately, following 2 Game 5 losses, the Ramen Bowl Swarm are sitting in 7th place and outside of the top 6 required to qualify for playoffs in Ramen Bowl. However, there's only a 4-point gap between 1st and 7th place, so one good week can flip the entire playoff picture. These boys have some hard work to do, but are still looking great moving forward this season.
And finally, the series highs for Week 5. The Mac League crew definitely showed up on offense this week, where Fort had 6 goals and 23 shots in a single series, and Ethan had 6 assists, all versus the San Francisco Cyborgs. Pardon had 13 saves in one series also versus San Francisco, which helped them secure their 1 point on the weekend. And for demos, MJ bulldozed through 15 cars in one series against Dallas, which helped the RB Swarm get to Game 5. Huge stats for Week 5, and with playoffs inching closer and closer, we're looking forward to seeing who steps up with some important games in Week 6. That's all we got for Swarm Weekly Week 5. I'm Hornet.
And I'm Pandy.
And as always, we'll see you guys next week.